The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, shout out to everyone out there in the world. It's 10:31 Eastern Standard Time here in South Florida. It's 9:31 Central Time, 7:31 Pacific Time, and we are live once again here on True School Sports. Shout out to everybody tuning in right now live, and shout out to everybody watching the playback. Make sure you smash that like button. Now, this is the first of many lives here on True School Sports this year. You know, I'm a true professional covering the sport, so I'm gonna be here a lot this year and in the years to come. But yeah, there's a lot I wanted to touch on. Just wanted to come here for the next 90 minutes or so and kind of just talk to you guys, talk about what's going on in the sport, talk about a little bit about this Tank fight, you know, what's going on with Tank going into the fight and these kind of things, and get your guys' feedback, get your guys' feedback on the latest and greatest in boxing as well. So shout out to everyone here. Before I get into the news and before we really start cooking and breaking down what's going on in the sport, let's acknowledge my boy right here, MAW. He says, hello to BT and Pops and whoever smashed that like button, folks. Yes, listen to my main man, MAW, because he's telling y'all the truth. Make sure you smash that like button and let me know where you guys are watching from. Let me know what city, what state, what continent you guys are watching from, and definitely continue to support the channel. But I don't want to waste too much time. I kind of want to just get right into it. I want to talk about this card on Saturday, the Showtime card with Tank and Hector and Boots and Andrade and just all the storylines and all these kind of things. So let's talk about it, man. Let's go to screen share. Let's talk about what will be, unfortunately, another PBC pay-per-view card, because I don't think this should be I really don't believe this should be a pay-per-view card. But that's kind of like that's the norm in boxing these days. Like the norm is to put on shows that, on pay-per-view that are on pay-per-view caliber. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it. We got Gervonta Davis, the one, Baltimore's very own, one of the hardest hitting fighters in boxing. And whether you love him or hate him, and I know there's a lot of people that love him, and I damn sure know there's a lot of people that hate him, especially here on YouTube. But no matter what you say about him, you're going to watch him. You're going to talk about him because he's worth talking about. He's worth our time. He is worth our attention. He is worth our energy, because we know that anytime Gervonta Davis steps in that boxing ring, a lot of, exciting things tend to happen. So he's taking on Hector Garcia. There's a lot going on with Tank. We all know, I've talked about it already, and it's been talked about everywhere else. Gervonta Davis is gonna be, under a lot of scrutiny because supposedly he hit his girl, but then the girl called the police and she wasn't really the best with giving out information. So, and then she came out and said that pretty much she lied. She admitted she lied. That's the part that nobody's talking about. Her ass should be in the slammer, and they should keep the same energy for her that they would keep for any man, if they were in that situation. But that's neither here nor there. We know that with these things come a lot of extra unnecessary pressure and added stress. And I know people want to say, oh, Hector Garcia is a cherry pick. Hector Garcia is this. Hector Garcia is that. But I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to call Hector Garcia a cherry pick. Why would I? Yeah, he's never fought 35. We get all that. But this is a guy that every time he's performed, when people don't expect him to win, he finds a way to win. A true champion can adapt to any situation. So when he was called on short notice to fight Chris Colbert, he found a way to produce. When he fought Roger Gutierrez for the world title, he found a way to produce. We got a lot of fighters in boxing these days. Like I had Rick Laser on here last night, and Rick Laser was out here defending Zach Parker, talking about, oh, he didn't quit, and the trainers pulled him out. But listen, man, like I told him last night, a true champion can adapt to any situation, and Hector Garcia has been one of those guys that's adapted. So breaking down the style matchup, and I see you, Daniel. Shout out to my main man, 50 grand. I see you in the comments, Daniel. He says, how are we doing tonight, Brendan? He said, we in here. Yeah. Hey, Daniel, good to see you as always, man. Hope all is well with you. Looking forward to a very prosperous 2023, and looking forward to getting out to at least a couple pro box shows this year. So I'm doing great. I had a long day today. I'm a little tired, but who gives a damn about how I feel? We got to show up and produce and be professionals here. So that's what we're doing, man. Hope all is well with you. But the style matchup is a good matchup. I feel like it will make for a good fight, Hector versus Tank, because you're gonna have it's a southpaw and southpaw matchup. You got one guy who's in Hector, who's a come forward southpaw with good timing, who can counterpunch, against a guy in Tank who is an explosive southpaw, who seems to be maturing. I had a chance to go to the Tank Davis media workout about week and a half, 2 weeks ago here in Miami. And, I've been to a couple. It wasn't my first time seeing Tank up close. Like, I've seen Tank at the Mario Barrios media workout and the Isa Cruz media workout. Those are the other two I went to. And I would say, I know you can't really go too much off of training and whatnot, but, I've been around boxing a long time, and I noticed the little things. I noticed the nuances of the sport. And even just the way he shadow boxes Tank these days, I just feel like he's maturing. His style's matured. He's a different fighter now. He's a guy that I feel it is entering his prime. He's a guy that's ready for the big fights. He's a guy that's ready for the big occasions. And now, it looks like the safety has been taken out the Glock, and he's going to be able to finally, prove what he can do. But he can't overlook Hector because, like I said, Hector's going to come forward. Hector's going to bring that pressure. Hector Garcia is going to come throwing a high volume of punches. So it's gonna give Tank the opportunity to counterpunch and counterpunch in an aggressive fashion and hurt Hector Garcia. But at the same time, it's also going to test Tank's stamina. If he doesn't land the big shot early on, I feel like Hector could grow his way into the fight, and this could wind up being a better fight than we think. But that's just my humble opinion. But shout out to all 12 of you in here. We got my man MAW. He says there should be consequences for false allegations. It's defamation of character. Yes, I agree. How we all know the deal. We all know that if that broad, if that woman, if the roles were reversed and it was a man that called 911, claiming these false allegations, he would get laughed at, number one, and he would get his ass thrown in the slammer or have some sort of consequences thrown his way. But that's just what it is, man. Men are looked at to have the brunt of the responsibility in society. So we can't expect men and women to be treated equally, no matter how much we hear about equal pay and equal this and equal that. It's just not the way the world works. In an ideal world, yes, that'd be cool, but that's just not the way the world works. Men get held to a higher standard, and it is what it is. But also on this card, I want to stay on topic. I want to really cook on this card. Co-main event, I've talked about it a lot. You got Jaron Boots Ennis taking on Karen right here. Karen, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I don't want to butcher his last name. I don't want to be disrespectful, but he's taking on Karen. 21-1 Karen. I know a lot of people are criticizing Boots for this opponent because it's his 30th fight in the pro ranks, and he's fighting the Karens of the world. But hey, this is the only guy that will sign a contract to fight him. And I did get a chance to watch a little bit of Karen fights. Karen's a guy that very, very good amateur background, well schooled, boxes and moves pretty well. I think he's actually a better fighter than people realize. I don't think he's no world beater. I don't think he's no creme de la creme, top shelf, A-level fighter, but he's a solid, top 15 guy. I would probably say he's fringe 15. I would say he's maybe 6. I feel like he's 15 in the IBF, but I'm saying if we're talking about talent and ability, he's probably a guy who's maybe 19, 20, or something like that. He's not a bad fighter. You could have did worse than him, but it's a chance for Boots to go in the ring and get another knockout and continue to show the world what he can do. Continue to show the world that, hey, I am one of the most talented guys out there, and try to drum up some interest for a fight with one of the two divas at welterweight, guys like Crawford and Spence. Maybe I don't think he's gonna fight Virgil. A lot of people I once had this fantasy of Jaron Ennis fighting Virgil, but then it all hit me one day Virgil Ortiz isn't gonna fight Jaron Ennis anytime soon. Why? Because his manager is the same guy that manages Jose Ramirez, and that's Rick Marigan. So if Rick Marigan's a smart guy, he's not gonna put him in there with Boots, because right now, monetarily speaking, in terms of money, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense right now for that fight to happen. I hate talking that way because I'm not a businessman. I really could give a fuck less about the business of boxing, but I know that does play a role in fights getting made. So I don't think that he's going to make that fight happen anytime soon. But yeah, if you're hoping for Spence or Crawford, that's not happening. If you're hoping for, if you're hoping for Virgil Ortiz, that's not happening either. So, I don't know what the pathway at welterweight. Like if Ennis is going to campaign at welterweight, if he takes care of business, I don't understand like what big fight will he get? Is he going to maybe get Ugas or maybe Thurman? I mean, I don't know. Is PBC going to finally serve him up one of those guys? I mean, hopefully for his sake he gets one of those fights because I feel like Jaron Ennis is one of the best talents in boxing, and it's a shame. And it honestly, I want to say this. It really goes to show you the fact that like how bad the boxing business is right now, how diluted the sport has kind of become. The fact that a guy like Jaron Ennis, a can't miss talent, a guy that I feel like has literally like he has mainstream appeal. He's the kind of guy that like if marketed properly, if he was fighting 3-4 times a year, he's the kind of guy that I feel like the general sports fan would like to watch fight because his style. You know, if you show Jaron Ennis, because I've done this experiment. I'll show Jaron Ennis' highlights to people that don't know shit about boxing, like friends of mine that don't know anything about boxing. And every time I show them Jaron Ennis highlights, they all ask the same question, which is like, why have we never heard of this guy? Why isn't this guy being talked about by everybody? And I just tell them like it's just a boxing business. You know, promoters are kind of slaves to the networks, and if the networks don't give fighters X amount of dates, then they can't really build the momentum they need for the general public to know who they are. So. You know, it's a sad state of affairs. We got my main man, Lance Meyer, in the building. I see you, Lance. He says, True School. Much respect for the hustle. I see you, BTIA. Thank you, Lance. I appreciate being appreciated. Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining True School Sports and one of our first of many lives here in 2023. It's a long year, a long road ahead, and a lot of work to be done. So I'm happy that you're here, and I'm happy for all 14 of you here that choose to talk boxing with me. Derek Wilt, shout out to Derek Wilt. He says, Hector has got to stop pulling straight back and get his head out the line. I agree with that, Derek. That's also something I noticed. You know, Hector, with him being a pressure fighter, sometimes he gets a little excited. And when he gets a little excited and he's throwing those 3-4 punch combinations, he kind of like, as you said, he abandons that defensive responsibility and he leaves himself susceptible by pulling himself in a straight line. And doing that against a guy like Gervonta Davis could get him clipped with a uppercut or one of those underrated right hooks, because everyone always talks about Tank's uppercuts, but I think his right hook is just as devastating as the uppercut that he has. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if you don't correct that, you know, he could be the next on the Gervonta Davis highlight reel. So, yeah, I would say that I would hope that Bob Santos and him have worked on, you know, trying to limit that and correcting that mistake that he makes technically. But you know, those aren't the only fights in the card. We also got Rashidi Ellis. Speedy Rashidi Ellis is back. Yes, that Rashidi Ellis is back. He's back. Second fight on PBC, taking on Roman Villa. Now, this to me, I really think right here, if we're talking about competitive fights that could really wind up stealing the show, I think for me, this is the one. For those that know, for those that don't know, Roman Villa is a guy who last year scored a really good victory. I believe it was on Showbox against Janos and Figueroa. Was it? Yeah, I believe it was Janos Figueroa. And I'll look it up right now. I'll look it up. I don't be lazy. Let me stop being lazy and look it up. I'm pretty sure it was Janos and Figueroa. But Villa is one of these guys, high volume guy, strong, sturdy for the weight class. You know, a guy that's going to be in Rashidi Ellis's face all night. And I would definitely say, you know, the ideal test for him. Let me see. Was it Figueroa? I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. So his last fight, he defeated Janos and Figueroa. Figueroa was a good prospect, a guy that was at one point in time ranked in the WBA, and Figueroa wound up beating him, and beating him pretty convincingly. Like it wasn't a hard fight to score. Figueroa had spit out his mouthpiece and got dropped. So you know, good win for Roman Villa, but. I think with this fight, it's going to be interesting because Rashidi Ellis is a guy that in the past at times has had, you know, stamina problems, you know, stamina issues, these kind of things. And this is the kind of guy that I feel like could really test his stamina the longer the fight goes. So my thing is, if Rashidi Ellis can have a good performance against Roman Villa, then ideally, like if Boots is on the same card, he's on the same card. If Boots isn't going to get Thurman next, if Boots isn't going to get Ugas next, then I think Boots versus Rashidi Ellis is a fight that PBC needs to look into, because Rashidi Ellis is a guy that's dying for the big fights. Boots Ennis is a guy that's dying for the big fights. They're on the same platform. It makes all the sense in the world. Now, if we're talking about rankings, because that's what I have in front of me right now as it stands, Rashidi Ellis is ranked number 10 in the WBC. Ennis is 3rd in the WBC. Ellis is not ranked in the WBA, and Ellis is not ranked in the IBF, but Roman Villa is ranked number 9 in the IBF. So, so Rashidi Ellis is fighting for, continued respectability in his career. He's fighting for just the opportunity to really be a guy that people talk about more, because he's been one of these guys for a long time. Golden Boy kept him pretty inactive. I know Rick Laser last night came on here and he said, "Oh, well, he turned this fight down, he turned that fight down." Listen, if he did, whatever. But for whatever the case may be, we haven't seen a whole lot of him, so I'm just happy we're seeing him in the ring. Major Key Boxing, what's good, champ? Good to see you, champ. I saw you in the comments last night of the Rick Laser interview. My bad for not saying anything, but I did see you last night, and I see you today. Hope all is well with you, Glenn. God bless. But yeah, Rashidi Ellis, Roman Villa, a good solid fight. I would probably say on paper the most competitive fight on the whole card. Now there are a couple other interesting things in this card we're talking about. I'll run through them real quickly. We got a couple prospects from the DMV area fighting. We got 6-0 Trayvon Marshall, who I think is a pretty good fighter. Was a decent amateur here in the States. He's taking on Sean West. Sean West, if I'm not mistaken, this guy's Sean West. I'm pretty sure this guy was the firefighter that this guy's Sean West. I'm pretty sure he's like a part-time firefighter. And what's his name fought him? Joey Spencer fought this guy, but I wanna make sure I have my opponents correct, because I'm pretty sharp, but I make mistakes. Let me see. Sean West. Is this the firefighter dude? Yeah, this is the firefighter guy. This dude right here, Sean West. Joey Spencer fought this dude during COVID. I remember this fight. For some strange reason, I remember this fight. And I remember they made a big deal that this on the broadcast. They made a big deal that this Sean West dude was a firefighter. So, I guess Trayvon Marshall was fighting the firefighter as well too. So make of that what you will. But Trayvon Marshall, good little fighter. We'll see how he develops in the pros. Jaleel Hackett's back in action for 4-0. You got Jaron Davis also fighting on the card against Christian Fabian Rios. So we haven't seen or heard from Jaron Davis since David Benavidez fought him, and that was like in 2021, early 2021 at that. So it's been a while since we've seen from him. You got Vito Manecki Jr. Oh, and I almost forgot. I almost forgot. I talked about all these fights, and I almost forgot. The man is back. The GOAT is back. Demetrius Andrade is back. He's back, man. It's been a long time since Demetrius Andrade fought. I'm really, really excited to see Demetrius Andrade back in the ring. I know a lot of people don't care for Andrade. I like Andrade. I still think he's one of the best fighters out there. And hopefully he just goes out there and does what he needs to do, because he's fighting Desmond Nicholson. Desmond Nicholson really is a guy that, he should be – the way he beat up Quigley in 2 rounds, I don't think he's going to beat up Nicholson in 2 rounds, but, he should be beating him up in the same sort of fashion, because, Desmond Nicholson really isn't, anybody that's really done anything crazy in his career. I mean, he fought Jesse Hart a couple years ago, got knocked out in 7 rounds to the NABF title, got dropped by Edgar Berlanga like 4 times last year. He's never really quite cut it on the world level, but he's always been, durable to give guys around. So that's what I expect here. And then, the one thing, Brandon Lee's also on this card, and Brandon Lee's having his 27 pro fight against Patrick O'Kine, domestic level African fighter who every time he steps outside of Africa, he loses. So, I know Ennis and Cameron Duncan, Ennis and Brandon Lee are managed by the same guy, which I believe is Cameron Duncan. And both of them are kind of the same fighter. Like they're both 25 plus fights deep into their careers. And they're both kind of like prospects still, which is kind of crazy to say. But it kind of goes to show you just how broken the sport of boxing is right now. There's a lack of dates. There's a lack of fighter development in the sport. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is, man. So yeah, that's my little take on the card. You also have the return of Lamont Peterson, and then what's his name, Anthony Peterson as well. So, you know, make of that what you will. It's a showcase card for the most part, but it has a lot of high profile names and guys in the sport that I talk about quite a lot here on True School Sports. So that's just my take on the card. That's my whole take on the card. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below, because I'm just here talking boxing with you guys. Let me see. We got my man Ezra. Shout out to Ezra. He says the boxing voice was very disrespectful to Demetrius Andrade in an interview, and I'm glad he hung up on them. See, I'm glad you told me that, because I never finished watching the interview. Like, I never had a chance to finish watching the interview. I watched about half of it, and then I didn't finish it. So what did they say that had him so disrespectful? Well, like what forced him to hang up? Like, what did they ask him that got him so pissed off? Because look, I've been in studio with Ness, as many of you guys know. I've been in studio with Ness on the Boxing Voice. I'm looking forward, hopefully in like April or May, when I start traveling again. You know, I'm hoping to be back on the Boxing Voice, and I will be back on the Boxing Voice at least one more time this year, hopefully a couple times this year, because so I know how Ness. I know how Ness doesn't like Demetrius Andrade, and but I just want to know what he said. I have to go finish watching that. 93 Octane says Brandon Lee is going to end up like Andrade. I don't know about that one, man. I don't know. I don't know if Brandon Lee will ever win a world title, because unfortunately for him, you know, Andrade's a 2-division champion, right? But Brandon Lee, I don't know if he'll ever touch a world title if he continues to campaign at 140, because unfortunately for him, as good of a talent he might be, and he's a solid talent, he's a good fighter. He's in my opinion in probably the most stacked weight class in boxing. Like, there's weight classes in boxing that I believe have more A-level fighters than 140, but I don't really think there's any weight class in boxing that has like a higher, like as many B and A-level fighters as 140. Like, I mean, there's probably a legit like 15 to 20, maybe even 25 A to B level fighters at 140. There's only a couple A level fighters, but there's like 20 something B level fighters. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Let me see. My man Major Key says we were at the Nicholson fight when we met. Berlanga versus, yeah, I remember out there and kissing me at the Silver Spurs Arena. Yeah, it was a great night of boxing. Hopefully, I'm hoping they do some more shows, more bigger shows up there this year, because that's one of my things I want to get done this year. Glenn, is I want to definitely try to go to at least like 2 or 3 shows in Florida, but that are outside of South Florida, because there's South Florida, yes, but there's a lot of other shows that happen in your area that I like to go to. So hopefully that can happen. Dandada says, yes, let's keep trashing Canelo when we have the great Andre fight and the great Desmond Nicholson and the great Tank fighting a come forward Latino moving up in weight. Well, listen, man. I made the last video I made in 2022 was just a troll Canelo. I really don't have anything, like, I really don't have any disdain for Canelo anymore, because there's nothing to hate on anymore. It's already been proven he's not what people said he was. So I'm not trashing him no more. In fact, what I will say about Canelo is this: is I actually hope that for the sake of boxing, Canelo Alvarez fights two times this year, like, because as much as I don't want to admit it, and I'm not no Canelo guy, no Canelo fan, but you know, Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, they can't handle the pressure of like being guys that boxing depends on to make big fights happen. And there's just so many other fighters that unfortunately can't do what Canelo's doing so far as handling being, you know, one of the faces of boxing. So, you know, I hate to say it, but we kind of do need Canelo to be active. You know, for good, bad, or indifferent, we need Canelo to be active this year. So hopefully, you know, I hope he fights twice this year. Hopefully John Ryder, and then if he can beat John Ryder, which I think is going to be a good fight, you know, he can fight maybe Benavidez or give the fans what they want. Did you really? Okay, I might go check that out later on. Let me see. My man, whatchamacallit? My man, where is it? Where's that comment at? I just had it. Dandada says, no, Ness was speaking a lot. Oh, he got upset. Okay. It is what it is. Listen, I've been there with Ness. Like I know how he is. Like Ness is very good at like talking over his guests and whatnot. That's what he does. Doesn't mean that like he's winning the argument, but he's he can be very like loud and obnoxious at times and talk over his guests. I think it's entertaining. I think it's funny, but shout out to Ness. Brendan Smith, what's good, champ? Black Ray Donovan says, LOL bullshit. Bud is the problem, not Earl. Who cares? It's 2023. Who cares? Fuck that fight. Who gives a damn? They're not fighting each other. Earl Spence don't want to fight him. He don't want to fight Ennis. So, it is what it is. Andrade took offense to Ness and Danny's rebuttals. They were just rehashing Canelo's resume against Trout, Laura, and Jacobs. Andrade was trying to discredit his resume, and it kind of went left. Well, hey, it is what it is. I mean, he has his weight. Andrade has his he has his weight. He has a reason to feel the way he feels. They can say what they want about the resumes, but he was in line to fight him a couple of times, and never happened for whatever reason. But listen, I've already beat that like a dead horse here on their channel. Really, could care less right now. They're not gonna ever fight. I don't think Canelo's ever gonna fight Andrade. I don't even care if Andrade could beat Dea Benavidez next. I still don't think Canelo will fight him. It just is what it is. Some things just aren't meant to be. They're just written in the stars to not happen. So that's just what it is. Hyro says PBC's having a great start with the big show and a big arena, unlike Top Rank. Random ass contender in a small venue. Hey, it is what it is, man. Every promotional company is gonna run their company how they see fit. Andre was not trying to discredit Canelo's resume, anyone's resume. Andre simply said, "Why do you keep saying Canelo runs my career when I've been said it's time to move on years ago?" Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to go watch the rest of the interview for myself because I wanna get a chance. I want to get a chance to see what he said, to see how it ended for myself. Who will fight Andrade, Benavidez or Charlo? Well, first and foremost, I don't think Charlo will ever fight Demetrius Andrade. I don't think Jamal Charlo has ever wanted that fight. And now I think if I'm wrong, I'll humble myself and I'll give him all the respect in the world. But I think Jamal Charlo is going to get severely exposed this year. When it comes time to make that fight happen, I don't think he's gonna take it. He's gonna start yelling and hooting and hollering like a motherfucking hyena from the Lion King, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. They're not gonna fight. So I don't think he's gonna fight him. Benavidez, I mean, he talks a good game. I'll give him that. I know Benavidez talks a good game. I know. He said recently he was like, yeah, I want to fight all these guys. Put them in the hospital. I know he said all that, but unfortunately for Benavidez, Samson has never really been too keen on making that fight happen. And unfortunately for Benavidez, he just re-signed with Samson. Like recently. He re-upped on his contract with Samson. So if history shows us anything, Samson won't make that fight. So, maybe Plant, maybe Caleb Plant, possibly. I don't know. Andrew was mad because Canelo runs his career just like everyone. No, Canelo doesn't run anything. That's bullshit. Let me see. Demetrius called Samson to make him versus Benavidez for December. Asked Samson, who said no. People have a habit of this. Well, look, listen. I know for a fact that they wanted that fight. I know there was talks about it, but Samson said it himself. Samson, I can't remember where he said it, but I remember reading an interview or article somewhere, and Samson literally said, well, when I had Sergio Martinez, I had to give him to this promoter. And he's had fighters where he's had to literally give them to other promoters to make the money off of them, right? Benavidez is really his first superstar boxer that he's had for the majority of his career. So, of course, he's not going to just throw him in there with a Demetrius Andrade right away. Ghost said Ness was straight up disrespecting Demetrius, lying on Demetrius, speaking half truths. People need to do the research before bringing on guests. Know who you're talking to. And I would agree with that last part of your statement. That's one thing I really pride myself on. When I interview somebody, I try to learn every last little thing I can about them. Everything. Even things that have nothing to do with boxing, just so I know who I'm talking to, And It is what it is. One thing we can probably all agree on is that Canelo versus John Ryder fight is trash. No, it's not. I don't think it's trash. I actually think this is one of his best fights at 168. Now, Callum Smith versus Canelo was fucking trash. That fight I thought was trash. Yildirim was trash. This is actually because you're talking like John Ryder's earned the fight. John Ryder beat Daniel Jacobs and he beat undefeated Zach Parker, the guy that Andre didn't want to fight because the money wasn't to his liking or whatever. So he's earned the fight. Canelo's coming off of a injury, so to speak. So no, I like that fight, and I think John Ryder has earned the payday. He's actually, while Benavidez was running his mouth, fucking fighting 54-pounders, and when Andre was turning on every fight in the world, John Ryder was too busy putting in work and beating top guys in the division. So yeah, but listen, I already know how it is. John Ryder never ever gets the credit or the respect he deserves. And the reality is he is one of the best 168-pounders out there. Go look at when he fought Canelo Smith. Canelo Smith got the fight after he got a get decision over John Ryder, but John Ryder beat the piss out of Callum Smith. So to me, I look at John Ryder already as a champion. He's a champion in my eyes, an uncrowned champion. You know what I'm saying? You see. No, he didn't. I'm so sick of that narrative. Daniel Jacobs didn't even come to fight. He didn't even come to fight that night. Like I love how everybody says Daniel Jacobs, or Ryder got to get against Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs didn't even come to fight that night. He from like round 2 and round 3. Go back and watch the fight. Every time Ryder crowds him, he's looking at the referee. He's not really like, man. It was he had some moments in the fight, but I thought Ryder did enough to win. I thought it was a competitive but clear victory. But that's just me. Anybody who says John Ryder's a bum, you just look at you don't watch boxing. You just go on BoxRec and you don't really know what you're looking at. John Ryder would get beat up by Benavidez. His style can't bully Benavidez. Well, the thing about it, Hyro, is Benavidez never fight John Ryder because unfortunately for John Ryder, John Ryder's not a 154-pounder. Benavidez likes to fight 54-pounders and 60-pounders. He don't like to fight guys at 168. And if he does, it takes like what 3 years to do it, like with Caleb Plant. So, that's just not his MO. Go says BT, I would say John Ryder might beat up Benavidez. Benavidez cannot box. Well, his resume is how it is for a reason. And I agree with that. I think a lot of you people out here, like, you haven't learned yet. Like you didn't learn from Jacobs. You didn't learn from Zach Parker. So you guys are just gonna have to keep learning. You're gonna continuously have to learn this lesson. You keep talking shit about John Ryder, and John Ryder just keeps winning. He just keeps winning, keeps upsetting the apple cart. Now, if Benavidez can't get the Canelo fight next, which I'm sure he won't. Fuck it. Make the John Ryder fight happen. Dundada says that Benavidez is gonna get exposed like Ryo. Man, I'm gonna tell you this right now. A lot of you guys think I don't like Canelo, and to be honest with you, surprisingly enough, I like Canelo more than I like Benavidez, because at least Canelo has went in there and done things. At least Canelo, is A level. At least Canelo is doing things. Well, Benavidez, man, like. Anyway, I digress. I'm gonna go back to screen share because I have some other things I want to talk about. Shout out to everyone here with like 34 minutes in the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. It's 11:04 here on the East Coast. Shout out to everyone. But Riddick Bowe, my main man, 50 grand. Riddick Bowe. Apparently, he was talking to the fine folks on ID Boxing. So shout out to Rob and the fine folks there at ID Boxing. But I guess he had an opinion on Tyson Fury, and Riddick Bowe, one of the best heavyweights of his day, and at his best, one of the best heavyweights ever, honestly, talent-wise. He said that guys are not going to Fury's body. They are not breaking him down. They're not doing what it takes to really go out there and beat them. Now, this isn't anything new. Like, I've interviewed Riddick Bowe about Tyson Fury years ago, like 2019, 2018. So what he's going to say in this article, he said in prior interviews on my channel. But since he said it again, I figured it's worth talking about. So here's what Riddick Bowe said about Tyson Fury and beating him. He said, I quote, "There are things he does that if in my era, that jerky style wouldn't have worked against me. The thing is that if he had that jerky style with me, I'm going to pop him, and guys aren't going to do that. They're not doing that. I would have jabbed him, and then I would have stepped in and broken a rib or two. Guys aren't doing this aren't doing this to his body. They're letting him stand strong, keep his posture, and as rounds go on, they aren't breaking him down. They're not busting his heart, stopping his liver. You got to do those things that will make him tired, and they're not doing it." And I would agree. I feel like like Wilder, not really a body puncher. I mean, he tried that for a little bit in the first couple rounds of the third fight. It didn't work. As far as like none of these guys they're not really serving up those rib dinners. So it really is unfortunate. It really is unfortunate because at some point, I would like to see somebody test Tyson Fury. Now, is Alexander Usyk gonna be a kind of guy that goes to Tyson Fury's ribs consistently? I don't think so, because that would require him to stay in the pocket and let Tyson Fury lean on him and do all those kind of things. But I just don't see it. I feel like Usyk will probably be Usyk. He's gonna be Usyk. He's gonna get on his toes and box and try to outpoint him. So I don't think he'll do it. Joe Joyce is a guy I think would do it, but Tyson Fury doesn't really have any real interest. He says he does now, but you know how Fury is. One minute he says this, the next minute he says that. But he's not going to fight Joe Joyce anytime soon. So he's not going to fight Joe Joyce. But I think Joe Joyce would be the kind of guy that would do that. Philip, I mean, it's not going to happen. But like if Philip Hrgovic got to fight Fury, I feel like he's the kind of guy that would throw body punches because I've been watching him spar a lot recently, and that's something that he does have in his bag. So there's guys in the division that would definitely, I feel like, employ this sort of style against Fury. He's just not fighting them right now. So it is what it is. My man Ghost says Stephen Shaw would do it. Listen, man, we can't. Maybe he will, Ghost. But Stephen Shaw, your moment of truth and your boy's moment of truth is coming. We're gonna see what Stephen Shaw's about when he fights F.A. Agjagba. He passed that test, then we'll start talking. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I would love to see Tyson Fury fight someone that would do this. And Riddick Bowe, I swear to God, I've had these conversations with him so many times in the gym. Like, he's beat this into my head, and he's very big on that. Like I remember back in 2019 at the Heavyweight Factory, there was a period of time where like nobody was going to the gym, but Bowe and Holyfield were just always there, and I would go and I would interview them, and then I would go train. And I remember Bowe, he used to help train me a little bit and show me some pointers, and that's one thing he's big on. Just from Bowe training me a little bit, I know he's very big on stepping in and and throwing big, hard throwing body shots. That's one thing that like he preached to me all the time. So I believe that if there was a way we could take like the 1992 Riddick Bowe that fought Holyfield and he could fight this Tyson Fury would have some fucking problems on his hand. I have no doubt about it. But we got our first super chat of the year. Shout out to my where is it? We got our first super chat of the year. We got my main man. Where is he? His computer's being a little slow right now. El Jefe, though, I see you. Hold on. I want to show El Jefe some love. Because El Jefe out here showing love, so I want to show El Jefe some love. So we'll get our screen share for a little bit, and then we'll show El Jefe some love. El Jefe said, Bowe ducked Lewis. Hold on, let me highlight the comment. I gotta clear some space on this computer because shit is slow as hell right now. But El Jefe said, Bowe ducked the best heavyweight in Lennox Lewis. Andrew beat him. Well, Andrew was beating him, and shout out to the super chat. Andrew Golota was beating him, but unfortunately, Andrew Golota couldn't stop hitting him in the dick, so he beat himself. So he didn't beat him. Unfortunately, he didn't beat him. It wasn't no controversial fight. It wasn't no fight that went to the cards and he got robbed. He was kicking Riddick Bowe's ass, and he got himself DQ'd, not once but twice. So it's his fault. So he didn't beat Riddick Bowe. As far as the whole Lennox Lewis thing, I've already spoken my piece on that. I'm not I'm not gonna get into all that. Now, my man Emmy, he says, you're the same guy that thinks Hrgovic is something special. He is. He's one of the best heavyweights out there. And I'll stick by it. I will stick by it. If he wasn't someone special, right? If he was this trash heavyweight like you people say he is, right? Then why don't your guys like, because it's one thing to talk. Like Jared Anderson will talk a lot in the media. He's great at that. But I bet you Top Rank will never send Hrgovic and Wasserman Boxing a contract. I know for a fact they won't. A lot of your favorite heavyweights will talk all this shit and never fight for Hrgovic, which was why he had to fight Zhang in the first place. And listen, it was a bad night. He didn't look that great against Zhang. It is what it is. But the best fighters in the world, the true champions, find a way to win on the worst nights. He did against Zhang. And I have absolutely zero doubt in my mind that when he gets the opportunity, I don't care who it's against, he will become heavyweight champion. I didn't always think that, but I've been watching him. I've been watching him a lot these last 2 weeks, and he looks really good in the gym. And I think there's some things that I learned about his style that I didn't even know recently. I'm not gonna say what they are, but I think Hrgovic has a chance to beat any heavyweight in the world. I'm not saying like he's gonna be every heavyweight in the world, but like to sit there and write him off like he's some bum, it's a big mistake. And any fighter that does that is gonna get fucking killed when they fight him. Make no mistakes about it. My man, We Run Las Vegas says, keep up the good work. Hey, shout out to you. We Run Las Vegas for the $5 super chat. Hey, I gotta say, man, I'm getting a little homesick. And what I mean by that is like, man, I love Las Vegas. I love being in Las Vegas. I love the Las Vegas boxing scene. I cannot wait to go back to Las Vegas. I'm literally counting down like the months because I got a couple months here in South Florida, and then at some point, hopefully March, April, we'll be back in Vegas, infiltrating the Las Vegas boxing scene, go on the Boxing Voice a couple of times, be a great time. So yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for all the support. David is arguably physically larger than Bivol and younger, and yeah, he is. But sometimes the things that make a fighter dangerous could also make them vulnerable. So, like for example, he is younger, he is bigger, he is longer, and he is meaner, but he also throws more punches. So that also gives his opponents more chances to counter punch. So, I'm very intrigued to see what Caleb Plant's approach is going to be in this fight with David Benavidez, because there's a lot of things that I feel like are working against him, but there are some things that I feel like are working for him, and how him and his coach and whatnot, how they approach all that makes me very excited for that fight, just tactically speaking. Jared Ennis will beat Zhang better than Hrgovic. BT, what do you see? What do you see in Hrgovic? His power isn't that amazing. Well, I've never said anything about his power. He's got power, but I've never said anything about his power. I think first and foremost, he's very technically sound. That's number one. Number two, he moves very well. I know it's hard to believe. He's very quick for a heavyweight. He didn't fight that way against Zhang. I don't know what the fuck he was doing in the Zhang fight. I think there were some things, as he said in our interview, that were working against him, but he's a very quick heavyweight at that size. And a lot of guys get surprised in there with him. When he decides to box and move, a lot of guys get surprised with him. So it's a combination of things. It's a combination of fundamentals, pedigree, power, quickness, boxing IQ, and if the Zhang fight showed us anything, he can grind out and win if he needs to. So it's a lot of things. My man, let me see. I'm gonna read like one or two more comments, and then I'm gonna get to some more of these articles. Hrgovic would get plastered by Joe Joyce. Make the fight. I just think Jared would be Hrgovic. Okay, well, make the fight. Tell Bob to make the fight. We Run Las Vegas says, I live in South Florida. Do you really? What part? Shout out again for the super chat. He says, I live in South Florida. What part of South Florida? Shout out to the whole South Florida. Miami, Boca Raton, Delray Beach, Dania Beach, Hollywood, Weston, Homestead, Liberty City. Let me see here. My man Rojar says, bro, I'm shocked nobody goes. Yeah, they don't. They don't. And the thing is, there's so much of it to hit. There's so much of it to hit. So I'm hoping at some point we get a fighter that has the courage to get in that pocket, get in that kitchen, and start serving up those rib dinners to Tyson Fury. And let's see how Fury reacts. Chance Dotson, my main man out there in Texas. Shout out to Chance, longtime viewer of the channel. Hope all is going well with you, Chance. Hope training is going well. Keep training hard. Keep staying focused. Keep staying disciplined. And God bless you out there, man. Looking forward, Chance, to hopefully, if there's a fight in Texas that I'm at this year and you're there, hopefully I get a chance to meet you because I've been a long-time supporter. JJ Romano, Pembroke Pines. Shout out to JJ Romano. That's right. I seen Jalala fight, and he can KO Hrgovic. You think so? It's funny. I was just talking to Hrgovic today in the gym. We were in the gym today. I was talking to him. I asked him about Jalala today. He said he's a good little fighter. Should be listen. Heavyweight boxing heavyweight boxing. I think would be a lot more fun if they stop this Wilder and Fury bullshit and let these guys like Joyce, Hrgovic, Dubois, Jalala, just let the next crop of guys get their shot at glory. The division will be so much better off. I want to see, any combination of like any of those names, whether it be Joyce, Hrgovic, Dubois, any one of those guys against AJ is good. Frank Sanchez, like Rajal, that'd be any of those guys against Frank Sanchez. Like, there's a lot of good matchups. If Stephen Shaw beats Agjagba, put him in there with any of those guys as well. I just think there's so many fights to be made. Jared Anderson, like, I don't want to see the same tired ass fights. If we're not gonna get like the only fight I want to see from like the older generation of heavyweights, I would say, is like, give me Joshua versus Wilder. That's really the only one that I feel needs to happen from that era. But after that, mix them and match them. Joyce, Hrgovic, Dubois, mix them and match them with anybody, and I'm good. Daniel says, not such a big Hrgovic fan. What do you say? Not such a big Hrgovic fan. I think his last fight against Zhang could have went either way, and I thought so too. I thought if Zhang would have got the decision, I would have obviously been sad because I like Hrgovic, but I thought he did enough to get the nod. I've scored it. I went back and I've scored it, and I thought Hrgovic won by the hairs of his chinny chin chin. He won by a point because Zhang did like very little in the second half of the fight. From like round 7 on, he did very little. So he kind of did himself no favors. But yeah. But I'm still high on him. BT, people were giving me trouble after saying Hrgovic was one of the best in the division. Well, he still is. He still is. And if any of these heavyweights and the promoters, if they feel otherwise, then send them a contract. Make the fight happen. Make the damn fights happen. Because that's the type of time I'm on. Like, if he's not that good, then you send him a contract and your actions would match your words. But he's good, and that the promoters and the managers know he's good because they don't send him contracts to fight. That's why he had to fight Zhang in the first place, because they got all the way down to like number whatever it was in the rankings. My man, We Run Las Vegas says, I'm from Miami and I live near the Hard Rock Guitar in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, shout out to you, man. Hey, I love that area, the Guitar Hotel. Love the Hard Rock. Got a lot of great memories covering boxing at the Guitar Hotel. So, yeah, man, hopefully they bring some more events there. But shout out to you, man. We Run Las Vegas, coming to you live and direct from South Florida. That's right. 93 Octane. Shout out to Deerfield Beach, Pompano, Sunrise, Lauderdale Lakes, 954 salute. Yes, shout out to the whole Broward County, Dania Beach specifically, and the Florida Panthers and all that good stuff. Let me see. I know I missed some comments because I still got more things I want to talk about, but y'all got me on this heavyweight stuff right now, and it pisses me off. Today I was in the gym with Hrgovic today, right? And he was kind of venting to me about some stuff. And, like, it's crazy. Whether it's Hrgovic or somebody else, like they'll prop a guy up, they'll say he's the next this, the next that. They have one bad fight, and then they say they're trash. So it is what it is. The heavyweight division isn't going to change until Fury loses. Then it may never change. It may never ever change, because I'm gonna tell you this: if Tyson, in my humble opinion, and y'all can agree or disagree if you want, but in my opinion, I only give 3 heavyweights a chance against Fury. There's only 3 heavyweights right now in the top 15 that I think have a snowball's chance of hell of beating Tyson Fury. Those 3 heavyweights are Joe Joyce, Alexander Usyk, and I know you guys don't want to hear it, but I'm sticking to my guns. And I have a deep conviction in Filip Hrgovic. Hrgovic, Joyce, and Usyk. Those are the only 3 fighters that I give any chance, any shot at beating Fury. Other than that, I'm taking Fury against the field I still favor Fury against all those guys I named, Hrgovic, Joyce, and Usyk, but I'm taking Fury against the field with not even an ounce of reservation against the rest of the heavyweights. You know what I'm saying? Chance says, yes, sir, indeed. I have huge plans for 2023 to take boxing serious, getting in top shape, starting my own private label sports drink. But okay, well, hey, if you start that sports drink, champ, send me some. Send me some. BT, do you think Usyk fights Hrgovic or gives him step-aside money? What's the inside info? You had to ask him, right? Well, I asked him on camera, and I've talked to him about it on numerous occasions. Right now, he doesn't even know what's going to happen. From what I was told by him just today, actually, from what I was told by him today, like, he's not going to fight. He doesn't know if he's fighting Usyk, and supposedly from what he told me today, he was supposed to fight in February, but now he was told it's going to get pushed back to March. So, right now he's kind of just in limbo. He's just waiting to see what's going to happen with Fury and Usyk, and then he has to wait for the IBF to make their ruling. But until then, he just got to stay in the gym and stay sharp. I think if Hrgovic is offered step-aside money, to be honest with you, I don't think he's going to take it. I don't think he's going to take it because from talking to him, like, because I've seen him like 3 times in the last 10 days. I've been to Muno Box Gym 3 times in the last 10 days because it's very close to my house. He's pissed off. Like, he's heard the criticisms. He's heard everything people said about him after the Zhang fight. He's very pissed off, and he's very offended that a lot of you guys think some of these heavyweights can beat him. So, he's zoned in right now, and I think I think if the fight gets presented to him, or step-aside money gets presented to him, he's not taking it. That's my opinion, but we'll see. Money talks. Money does talk. Ooh, we got my man. We got my man in the chat. Shout out to everyone. Show your appreciation for one of the true warriors of the sport, my main man. One of the diamonds in the rough at 130. Luis Chucho Melendez. He says Anderson. I think he's saying Anderson will be Hrgovic. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. He said, what do you think about Luis Melendez versus Andres Cortez? Good fight. I'm glad you asking the right questions. I think it's a good fight. I think Luis Melendez has the skills and the tools on his best nights to beat most pretty much any 130 pounder in the world. I mean, Luis Melendez is a guy that can box, he can punch, he can slug. The only problem I have with Luis Melendez when I watch him fight is sometimes, he kind of allows his opponents to make it look like they're winning the rounds. Like, for example, in the Eduardo Ramirez fight, I thought Luis Melendez did a great job of outboxing Ramirez and hitting him with a lot of jabs, stepping around him, utilizing the ring, utilizing the right hand. But then somewhere around the middle of the fight, Luis Melendez allowed Eduardo Ramirez to close the gap and up the volume of punches. And then it made some of the rounds even some of the rounds that he won, it made him look closer. So the judges gave Ramirez those rounds, and it costed Melendez. But I think it's a good fight for Luis Melendez to really put his name on the map and make a statement to the 130 division, because Cortez, he can punch. I could be wrong, but I think Cortez is undefeated, I believe. Don't quote me on that. He might be undefeated. So if he is undefeated, if he takes that, that puts Luis in a great spot early here in 2023 in position for some big fights. So yeah, man, I got mad love for, and it's funny. I know it's you asking the question, Luis, but I'm talking about it like I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking about it like somebody else asked the question. But yeah, I'm looking very forward to that fight. That's like the one I got circled on my calendar, circled on that card. Because that's the best fight to me. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. We Run Las Vegas says, I'll see all you guys in DC this weekend. All right. Well, I'm not going to be in DC, unfortunately, but have a great time. Enjoy the fights. Should be a good card. You know what I'm saying? Dondada says, I'm changing. What is he? Let me go down. I'm changing my avatar from first ballot Hall of Fame level to the all-time great Tyson Fury. Man. Shout out to Loma. Shout out to Loma, man. Lewis says, I'm stopping him. Okay, there you have it. Yeah, listen, listen. Y'all getting it right here first. So for those that don't know, I'm gonna play the role of public relations guy right now for my man Luis Melendez. I want to show so much appreciation for him because I got to show love to my South Florida fighters. Luis Melendez, he's for those of you who don't know, Luis Melendez will be taking on Andres Cortez on the undercard of Emmanuel Navarrete and Liam Wilson on February 3rd. Check him out. He's one of these guys that, he's had a up and down career, and I believe he still has a chance. He still has more than a good chance for it to be on the up. He's got to win this fight. He's saying he's stopping him, so I'm hoping he gets it done because I want to see him do well. Let me see. He said, I feel sorry for him. That's funny. Ali313, shout out to my main man out there in Detroit in the building. What's good? He says, who do you got in the Oshaki Foster versus Ray Vargas fight? That's a good fight, man. That's a tough one. It's hard for me to really make an educated prediction right now because I would like to go back and watch some film, but based on what I can remember, I think it's going to be a boring fight. I think that's going to be a boring fight. I think Oshaki Foster is going to go on there and look to box. I think Ray Vargas is going to go on there and look to box, and it's going to be a very low output kind of a fight. Right now, I'd probably lean slightly towards Oshaki Foster, but don't quote me on that because I haven't really went ahead and watched film. Because things could change when I watch film. Things could change because, for example, when Michelle Rivera signed the contract to fight Frank Martin, I was like, okay, that's a hard fight. That's a 50-50 fight. It's a competitive fight. But then, the day before the fight, when I went and I watched both fighters for 2 hours, I'm like, oh no. I said, oh no. And I was like, I think Frank Martin got it. So, I don't know yet. But anyway, there's a lot of things that have been happening in boxing, guys. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have been getting pissed off about the Kazuto Ioka fight. A lot of people think that Joshua Franco was robbed in that fight. I thought it could have went either way. I wouldn't have been mad if Franco got it. But Ioka was pretty much saying that Joshua Franco's technique and his mental strength kept him from fighting his best fight he could have fought. He actually gave Franco so much credit in the fight. And now in the aftermath of that, it looks like Joshua Franco is trying to make a unification fight with Gaio Estrada, and the WBO has actually ordered Ioka to fight Junto Nakatani next. So, the 115 division, the super flyweight division, continues, this decade-long run of just great fights. They're going to continue to put on more great fights this year. I think Ioka versus Nakatani is a great fight because, one thing that Ioka gets no credit for at all is his slickness, the defense that he has. He's very, very good at being slick and making guys miss and making them pay. But people didn't give him credit for that in the Franco fight. He constantly gets discredited all the time. Then as far as Nakatani, we know Junto Nakatani, he's a good offensive fighter, but that defense is very, very suspect. It's very, very questionable, and people know that he can get hit and he can get clobbered, and we saw that in his debut in this weight class against Francisco Rodriguez Jr. He was getting pieced up. So I think that's a very intriguing fight, and I think Joshua Franco's stock should have went up with a lot of people because the consensus going into the Ioka fight was that Ioka was better than him. Ioka was, just a cut above him, and he showed that maybe Ioka wasn't a cut above him and made the fight very close. So that's what it is. Dundada says Vargas is going to put Foster in the blender. He might. I mean, listen, Ray Vargas, he's been very consistent over the years. And a lot of times in boxing, that's the one thing that people undervalue is consistency. A guy who's consistent doesn't get the same credit as a guy who sometimes, fights up and down, because consistency just in life in general is undervalued. But Ray Vargas, listen, just beat Max Sayo. He's really playing with house money right now. He's 36-0, 2-division champion. He wins this fight, he's 3-division champion. O'Shaquie Foster, he's a guy that I think has developed really well. He's very tall and he's very long for 130. I believe he's like 5'8" with like a 72-inch reach. So, it's gonna be normally Vargas is the thing with Vargas is like Ray Vargas is normally accustomed to being the longer man in the ring. That's one of the reasons why he's so effective. But now he's fighting a guy that is longer than him. So now we're gonna see how he can adapt to that when he's not the longer man. Hannah Street Vault says, I'm surprised it's Junto. Estrada was actually at the fight. Makes you wonder why. Yeah, I mean, it does. It does. All the way out. Where were they at? Japan? Yeah. Will Chocolatita versus Ioka happen this year? If listen, that's the only as like a massive diehard Roma Gonzalez fan. I really hope that could be his last fight. That's the one guy that I really feel like he should fight, because Ioka is one of the top guys in the division. He deserves a shot. Like Ioka deserves a shot against, Chocolatito or Gallo. But they always make Ioka fight the guys that are still good, but like not the big names. So it's kind of fucked up, honestly. But no, honestly, no, I don't think it will. You know what I'm saying? What else is there? Oh, so I don't know how many people we have here that like women's boxing, but there was some news of women's boxing too. Two things actually. So Sinisa Estrada, her next fight is set. She's gonna be taking on Tina Rumshirt March 25th. For those of you who don't know, Tina Rumshirt or Rumshirt, whatever her last name is, she's the same girl that beat Yocosta Valle, who Sinisa is trying to fight. So that fight's gonna be, good fight. Good fight for Sinisa to see where she's at right now in her career. And then Michaela Mayer might be fighting the girl Christina Linden Taro, who beat Alicia Bumgarner many years ago. So good fights happening for women's boxing. I think women's boxing is in a great place. Isaiah Guzman says, what are your thoughts on Alicia Bumgarner versus LM McCallum? I think it's a good fight. I've only seen a little bit of Ellen McCallum. I don't know a ton about her. I just know she lost to Delphine Persoon. I'm like mildly upset because they were talking about Bumgarner against Persoon, and now we're not getting Persoon. So now my question is, why are we not getting Bumgarner versus Persoon? Because I would have liked that fight a lot more. But, from what I've seen, McCallum can box a little bit. She can move, but she's not really a puncher. So I think it's a girl on paper that Alicia should walk through, to be honest. The thing that's got me excited about that card is that, they got Amanda Serrano on the card. And if both of them win their fights, then I'm of the mindset that maybe they're gonna try to line them both up for a big fight at 135 later on in the year. That's what I think. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Hyro. Hyro says, for the super chat, Hyro says, Sinisa is finally in a step-up fight. Yocosta Valle beats her. Listen, Hyro, when they fight, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Like, Yocosta Valle is very good. She's improved. I like her. It's the sexiest fight in boxing, as you called it. But Sinisa going to beat the piss out of her when they fight. Wayne Robinson said, that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone if Gervonta Davis loses the fight. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think he will lose. But, we know Hector Garcia. We know Hector Garcia is not coming to lay down. We know Hector Garcia can really, really fight. I think Hector Garcia style, just so long as Gervonta Davis hasn't cut any corners in the conditioning department, if he's in shape, I think he should be Hector. Because I feel like Hector's style, being the fact that he's a southpaw, it's a southpaw and southpaw matchup. So that means like there's not going to be that I don't think, at least I don't think there's going to be that adjustment period that you would normally have if he was fighting an orthodox fighter. So I'm looking for Tank to come out like within the first 2 rounds throwing mean grown man punches with bad intentions. So that's what I think. But you're right. He's got a lot of things going on outside the ring with the baby mama drama and she's putting she's putting shit on his toothbrush. Like literally, I don't know if y'all saw that, but like Tank posted a thing on his Instagram. The girl literally put shit on the toothbrush. It's pretty disgusting. And then she called the police on him, and then she lied about so I'm not gonna fault Tank if his head's all messed up going into the fight, but it's a sad state of affairs. 93 Octane wants to know, what is Choi doing? Why is Choi hiding out in Korea holding the WBA hostage? I have no clue. She's been on this bullshit for a long time. Either she's not confident in her abilities to win, or her promoters and handlers are confident in her abilities to win, because she didn't want to fight Mayer when Mayer had the belt. She didn't want to fight Bumgarner when Bumgarner was in line to fight her. So it's just where we're at right now. It's just how it is. Let me see. He said, what? We didn't make these excuses for Ryan or Canelo. Fuck that shit. But Ryan didn't lose. Ryan Garcia didn't lose, though. But you know who did lose? You know who did lose the data? Canelo. He got exposed. All right. So we didn't have to make excuses for Canelo. He made plenty for himself. He made plenty for himself. You know what I'm saying? He made more than enough of excuses for himself. Canelo, man. Dandada, man, I'm trying to not talk about Canelo. Listen, it's a new year. I'm trying to be positive. You want to bring up Canelo, who made plenty of excuses after the fight against Bivol, talking about he didn't beat me because he was better. He beat me because I was tired. Fuck out of here. Ordinary Pete says, what's up, BT and Fight Fam? What's good, Pete? Good to see you, champ. Hope all is well. Mateo, shout out to Mateo. He says, better BF versus Bivol. Who wins? Tough fight, man. That's the one fight that I hope we get to see in boxing this year. That's really the only fight that I want to see. Really, if I could just do away with every fight in boxing, that's the one fight I want to see the most. Right now, I would lean towards Bivol. I just think, I don't know. That's a tough one, man. That's one where I'm gonna have to really watch a lot of film, because it's hard to pick against either one of those guys. Like, how do you pick against Bivol's boxing skills? But then how do you pick against a guy in Better BF who not only has a 100% knockout percentage, but has done it against top fighters, different styles, and done it in such an intelligent fashion? It really is a great fight. But I would say I will lean slightly towards Bivol. Ordinary Pete said, my True School hoodie helped during the winter. I'm glad, champ. Thank you for the support, man. I always appreciate you, Pete. Thank you for all the great comments you leave me and stuff, man. I really do appreciate people like yourself. When Sinisa loses, she's gonna make every excuse in the book. Sinisa hasn't fought anyone at 105. She doesn't have the resume like Acosta, who was a 2-division champion. Well, hey, when they fight, Harold, just make sure you keep the same energy. Don't do what you did with Joshua, because when Usyk fought AJ, you were talking all that shit. Oh, AJ is this, AJ is that, and then when AJ lost, you threw AJ under the bus. So nah, man, stick with your Costa. Cool. I mean, that's not really like my business, but I've heard about it. God bless Rachel Donera. I got nothing bad to say about her. I got nothing bad to say about Rick. Spence versus Bud over? No, absolutely not. Hell no. I will definitely take Better BF versus Bivol over Spence versus Bud, because with Spence versus Bud, number one, I've been hearing about this shit for like 5 years, and these guys still don't want to fight. And then, second of all, like, I already know who's going to win that fight. Terrence Crawford's going to win that fight. So, like, the suspense ain't there for me. Like, Better BF versus Bivol, I actually, like, even though I might pick Bivol, I'm not going to be confident either way, because both of them guys are just too damn good. Dandada says, you Americans are so privileged and divas, just like Buddy McGirt said. Man, I like Buddy McGirt, so I'm not going to say nothing bad about him. And there is a sense of that in American boxers. I'm not going to sit here and say that there aren't privileged and entitled American boxers, because there are. But there are some American boxers, honestly, there's a lot of American boxers that get the short end of the stick. So I don't want to hear that bullshit either. Like I feel like you can't just generalize one nationality of fighters. That's like me saying, like, you know, all Puerto Rican fighters don't throw feints. Now, many Puerto Rican fighters don't throw feints, and it pisses me off when I watch them, because I feel like, you know, a lot of Puerto Rican fighters have so much talent, but then like they kind of cheat themselves, because I don't know what it is. A lot of them just don't throw feints, and it kind of irritates me to no end. But I don't make those generalizations. Yeah. Let me see. Joel says, if John Ryder is a bum, what are the number 59 ranked guys that Andre fought like 4 or 5 fights ago? I agree. People want to say John Ryder is a bum, but this is a guy in John Ryder that's consistently performed. And if he's lost fights, they've been very close. They've been very, very close to top guys. Like when he fought Billy Joe for the British title earlier in his career, close fight, could have went either way. When he fought Canelo Smith, a lot of people thought he beat Canelo Smith. I thought he beat Canelo Smith. He beat John Ryder. He beat Zach Parker. So that's what it is. Al the Pal was good. Hope all is well. Good to see you, champ. And shout out to everyone here, man. We like an hour in. I'm gonna go for like maybe 10, 20 more minutes, then I'm gonna get up on out of here. But we here talking that boxing late at night, the untouchable Monday night boxing talk. Hyro's funny. Hyro says, yo, be honest. I still don't understand what service Rick Lasers does. Basically, like, to say it in layman's terms, because he says it like in a real fancy way, all he does is just supply sparring partners and just connect people in boxing. That's the best way to say it. He supplies sparring partners, and kind of works as like a guy that just works with promoters on moving fighters and things like that. Okay, better BF beats Vivo. Man, it's tough. It's tough, man. I mean, honestly, I don't have a prediction on that fight. That's the one fight in boxing where I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know. I just don't. It's hard for me. It's hard because to me, like the way I look at that fight is like it's the best, and this is what I believe. I think Bivol is the best pure boxer in the sport. I think, and what I mean by that is I don't mean like he just has the best jab or any of that kind of stuff. No, like when I say best pure boxer, I mean it's like he has the best combination of the jab. He definitely has the best feints in boxing. He's got some of the best feints in boxing, which I think is very important for any fighter to have in the toolbox. Good, sharp, straight, long right hand, which I love in a fighter. And just exceptional balance. Like, to me, the best pure boxer in the sport is Bivol. And then Beterbiev is pitching. He's batting 1,000, 100% knockout ratio, knocking out all kinds of styles, from the athletic southpaws like Marcus Brown to the technical, Eastern European fighters like Alexander Gvozdyk. I mean, he's doing it all. All right. MAW asking the right questions. Now, these are the kind of questions I want to answer. MAW wants to know what is happening with Angelo Leo. That's a great question. And it's a question that myself, like, I'm still trying to figure out myself. But from when I talk to him, the unfortunate part of boxing is, like, right now, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like he's having contractual issues with the fine folks at Mayweather Promotions. I don't know if he's out of his contract yet, because I know there was a certain day he was supposed to be out of his contract. I'm not sure if that time has happened, but like I right now, I know for him the important thing is getting out that contract if he hasn't already, and then looking to sign another promoter and trying to make a run at 126. So that's where we're at. That's how boxing is. Like, 1 minute you're the champion and you're this and you're that, and then you lose a fight, a really good fight, by the way, to a really good fighter, to Stephen Fulton, and then now you get shelved for no reason. So it's a sad state of affairs, but hopefully he gets active this year. That's really, for me, like in boxing, with him being my friend, like, probably one of my closest friends in boxing that's a fighter. I don't have too many friends that are fighters, but he's one of them. Like, that's a guy that I really, really want to like get active this year and make his name at 130. Alapal said, I agree with Andre said about Ryder. Easy fight, but his fights have been easy. He can't even talk. He goes this with Euro. John Ryder would be like Andrade's best win in years if he beat him. So it is what it is. Louis Valletta says, bet on my fight and make that bag. Why not? Why not? What's do you know what the odds are? What are the odds in that fight, Louis? If we can get some good odds in that fight, why not? Why not? But if you lose, man, you gotta reimburse me, man. If I bet on you and you lose, if I bet like $100 on you and you lose, man, you gotta come up off that fight purse. Give you like $100. But no, nah, I'm confident that you prepared and you won't lose. So we won't even have that discussion. I'll have to check the odds. Polo says, Philip Hrgovic versus Martin Bakole. Good fight, man. Good fight. I like that fight too. You know, Bakole's a guy that's been picking up some good wins. He beat the dog shit out of Tony Yoka. And that was a guy that Hrgovic wanted to fight, was calling out because of their Olympic history. So yeah, I would love that fight too. What do you think about Tio? I think Tio's a great fighter, a great talent. I think Tio is a guy that on his best night could beat the best fighters in the world, as we've seen already in his career. But as we can see, something's not right outside the ring, and it's clearly affecting him inside the ring, and he's not really like progressing as a fighter. So he's talking about fighting Regis Prograis. I know him and his dad have been talking a whole lot. They've been talking a whole lot of shit about fighting Regis Prograis. I don't think they should take that fight, to be honest, but they're fighters. He's a fighter. And if he thinks he can win the fight, then go fight him. You know, he's not a guy. Regis is a guy that can box, but he's not going to be trying to box till. He's going to go in there look for a knockout. So he's going to be right there in the pocket, and it's probably a more favorable style matchup for him than like Sandor Martin, who was doing a lot more moving and just difficult guy to beat. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Okay. Where's that comment? Polo says, I like Philip. He showed he has a dog in him. People are quick to write guys off, but let them sleep. The real ones know he's dangerous. Oh my God, yes, he is. He's very dangerous. But it doesn't matter how many times I scream from the mountaintops. It doesn't matter how many. I can literally sit here and tell you guys. I can break down a style from A to Z and tell you all the things about Hrgovic, but you would never believe me until he actually shows it. So yeah, that's what it is. Is Anthony Yard a good fighter? Anthony Yard is a good fighter. He's a good fighter, but there's many good fighters in boxing. There's good fighters in boxing. There's very good fighters in boxing. There's great fighters in boxing, and then there's like masters of boxing. Now, many fighters are good. A little bit less are very good. Fewer are great, and even fewer are masters of the sport. Very few people ever master how to master boxing. So I feel like Yard is a good fighter, and Beterbiev is like a master of boxing. So like I would say like Yard is probably like 3 levels below Beterbiev. But the thing about Yard is young, Yard is explosive, Yard can punch, Yard has speed. So it makes the fight interesting for the first couple of rounds. But I just don't think he's gonna have enough to deal with Beterbiev for the whole fight. But you know, Father Time is undefeated, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, honestly, like for all the I like Boo Boo Andrade, but for all the shit that he keeps talking about John Ryder, and that's another guy that some of these fighters like to talk about, like Caleb Plant likes to talk about him, Andrew likes to talk about him, is John Ryder, but they won't fight John Ryder. John Ryder will fight anybody. John Ryder's track record proves that he would fight anybody. He fought Billy Joe Saunders. He's fought Callum Smith. He's fought Daniel Jacobs. He fought Zach Parker as the B-side on another promotion. He'll fight anybody because he kind of has to, because he's not a big name. He doesn't have the luxuries of being able to like be the A-side and call the shots. But John Ryder is doesn't get the credit he deserves. Beterbiev makes opponents retire their career due to irreversible damage. That's a fact, bro. John Ryder, Beterbiev beat up Bosnick, and I remember like a couple months later, I think Bosnick became like a real estate agent or some shit like that. He got like a regular job. Which, listen, there's nothing wrong with getting a regular job. There is honor in all work for men. I'm not gonna sit here and downplay nobody having a 9-to-5, but listen, man, he beat a guy that was an A-level fighter, Olympian, top shelf world championship undefeated fighter up, and made him go get a job. That's how you know. What did Caleb say about John Ryder? When Caleb Plant was getting ready to fight Canelo Alvarez, and he was discrediting no, not Canelo. When Caleb, but this is before Canelo. When Caleb Plant was asked a question about Callum Smith and all these kind of guys, he referred to John Ryder as like a good little UK level fighter, but like he never fought no good little UK level fighter. So that's my thing. It's like Caleb Plant didn't say a whole lot about John Ryder, but he said enough to where like obviously he thinks John Ryder is not a top guy or a top contender in the division. Hyro says John Ryder don't want the smoke with David Morrell, who he ducked. I mean, that's probably the only guy, but I don't think John Ryder ducked him. I think that was Eddie Hearn. John Ryder would never duck David Morrell. If that's the case, then yeah. I mean, I don't think he ducked him, but if you say so. All right, Hawker. All right, man. Take care. Go to Rumble. Go to Rumble. Yeah. Dave Benavidez. Yeah, if that's the case, Harold, you could say Dave Benavidez ducked. He ducked Caleb Plant. Oh, not Caleb Plant. Dave Morrell. Or my bad, Morrell ducked Benavidez, I should say. Beterbiev's feints hurt. Oh man, listen, that's a bad man right there, Archer Beterbiev, and I'm hoping at some point we I'm hoping we get Bivol versus Beterbiev. That's the fight that I want. So let me see. We're at 1 hour and we're 1 hour 22 minutes in. So I'm gonna give it like 8 more minutes. So get your questions in. It's your boy BT, the Untouchable, True School Sports Empire. We'll take this shit all the way to midnight. We'll go all the way to midnight. And then we'll get out of here because I do have a long day ahead of me tomorrow. Ryder did it happen because Morrell's side people talk without knowing facts. Why they choose a part-time boxer? I honestly, like, I remember hearing about that fight not happening, but like I didn't pay the most attention to it. So I know my man Hyro always says that Ryder ducked Morrell, but I actually don't know for. Yeah, no, Bivol is a master of the sport. Like, there's so many good fighters in boxing, and then there's a lot of very good fighters in boxing, and then there's a couple great fighters in boxing, and then there's masters of boxing. I was saying the whole sport of boxing right now, guys, I would classify as like masters of boxing would be like Tyson Fury, Usyk, those guys, Bivol, Beterbiev, Roman Gonzalez. Crawford. It's not a whole lot of them. I mean, it's not a whole lot of guys I'll really give that moniker to. It's probably like less than 15 fighters in boxing. Ooh, talk to him, Charlie. Talk to him, Charlie. This is what I want to talk about. He says the whole world is ducking Pistol Pete Dobson. That's right. They're ducking Pistol Pete Dobson. You're damn right they are. Oh my God, what a nightmare year he had last year in 2022. Oh my God. Got off to a great start. He beat Jose Miguel Borrego. And then he signs a contract to go to England as the B-side, as an undefeated fighter, an undefeated American fighter, as the B-side to take on another undefeated fighter in Kyle Mean Agyarko. Agyarko pulls out 8 or 9 days before the fight, something like that, with an injury that he's never proven to this very day. He's still never proved that he had an injury. I thought I thought Agyako faked that injury. To be honest with you, I wanted to make a video about it, but I was like, nah, I'll show some grace. I won't talk shit about Agyako. But I thought he faked the injury. I think, he didn't do his research about Pete Dobson. He went and he watched some film, and then they faked an injury, got out the fight. That's what I think. But after that, he was supposed to fight this dude, Hassan Moakinyo in Tanzania, on December 30th, and then the Tanzanian Boxing Federation, they just canceled a fight like a week before the fight. So he's probably been one of the unluckiest fighters in boxing recently, just because every time he's getting ready to take that next fight that he thinks could be his next breakout fight, something happens to him. So it is what it is. Yeah, like especially now, Polo, like a lot of these guys in boxing, they get injured and then they don't even show proof. Like we just had too much, like ever since COVID became a thing, like there's just been too much fuckery with guys pulling out, and it's happening too much. And it's not to say that fighters are faking injuries, and it's not to down the fighters, because fighters are the most noble, toughest, and the greatest athletes in the world. I have such a deep respect for fighters. But yeah, like a lot of these guys, sometimes it just seems too convenient that they pull out at a certain time. That wouldn't be a bad fight. Madrimov can't get fights. Madrimov's a top guy. Madrimov's a guy that is a name, so why not? I would love to see that fight happen. But like Pete Dobson's a great example. You guys talk about like Dundada made the comment earlier. You talk about, Americans are spoiled and privileged. There's a guy that's been constantly getting fucked in boxing, and he's an American fighter. But you know what? Nobody cares about the American fighters that get fucked, because they're too busy complaining about the American fighters that get protected. Or what does Johnny Boy in fight film say? Amero bums. They're too busy shitting on those guys instead of worrying about the guys that are in gyms all across the nation, all across this great country, that can really, really fight, that deserve the opportunity, but for whatever the case may be, they just don't get it. So, that is a thing in boxing. There are American fighters that are getting fucked in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Has Jermell showed proof of the hand injury? I'm not sure. I mean, I know today was the last day for him to send the WBO medical evidence, so we should be getting something back from the WBO. We should be hearing something about that from the WBO any day now. Any day now we should. So, yeah, man, it's a sad state of affairs. But the good thing for us in boxing is, this weekend, boxing's, it's not a great card as far as competitive matchups, but it's a card where like you got fighters that are names that people want to see, and they're active, and it's not a bad way to kick off 2023. This Tank card, Paulo Ramirez says, Anthony Sims, what do you think of him? I think Anthony Sims he had potential. I mean, I don't want to down the guy because he lost a fight, but good boxing ability, good footwork, has good amateur pedigree. But my thing with Anthony Sims is I just think, there's some guys in boxing, unfortunately, that they just lack some things. They lack some things to get to that next level. And like one thing that I feel like Anthony Sims Jr., he's a great slick boxer, great footwork, good jab, looks great in the ring when he moves around. But when shit gets hot in there and guys close the gap on him and start putting it up in the pace and being active on him, he's not a guy that can really handle that. And the fact that he fought like Romero Angulo, and I'm not trying to condemn him for that one fight, because a fighter isn't defined by the losses; they're defined by how they come back from the losses. So I'm not. Listen, I hope he comes back, and I hope he becomes relevant at 168. But Anthony Sims, from what we've seen so far, just hasn't has shown that he has the skills, he has the style, but doesn't quite have that dog. So hopefully we get proven wrong. Yeah, okay. No, and Angulo's not a bad fighter. Munguia versus Anthony Sims that'd be a good fight. I wouldn't mind that fight. Munguia, like 160 is a pretty trash division right now. I don't know if is Anthony Sims at 160. because I'm pretty sure he's a 68 pounder. But like it would still be looked at to be a cherry pick because it should be, because Sims hasn't really performed at that high of a level against top competition. But Anthony Sims stylistically has some things in the style that could give McGee problems. You know what I'm saying? So we'll go ahead and we'll see with Anthony Sims. But listen, guys, and I'm gonna answer this one last question. Enrique Luna, shout out to you. Happy New Year. Yes, I will be live for the card on Saturday, so make sure you tune in on Saturday. We will have a live fight reaction for Tank versus Hector Garcia. But listen, guys, on that note, I'm gonna get up on out of here. It's been a pleasure as always talking to you guys. A honor, a privilege, a blessing to have this stage here on True School Sports to talk and convey my thoughts about boxing with you guys and share my opinions. I'm not gonna go live tomorrow because I have some errands I gotta run tomorrow, but I will be live again on Wednesday. So I'll see you guys Wednesday night. Wednesday night I'll see you guys again. Continue to support the channel. Continue to rock with me, stick with me, because it gets greater later. The longer I'm here, the better I get. And the longer I'm here, the more great content's coming your way. I'm definitely going to be going to some South Florida gyms this week. So, stay tuned for more content. And yeah, like I say in every single one of these videos, you guys can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just Kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.